And, right, take your time, don't rush through, but after you're finished with your next cat pose, right, just go ahead and come into a neutral spine. And then once you're in your neutral spine, we're just gonna take a few circles around just to get into the hips a little bit. Right, so take some nice circles, kind of lean to one side, right? You can get into the wrists a little bit if you want to come a little bit forward of the hands. Right, just go around a couple times. Just to get things warmed up before we move into our practice. Right, and then maybe the next time you come to the front of the mat, we'll go around a couple times in the other direction. Right, you can really get like some kind of snaky movements going in here as well if it feels good. Right, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, right? It can look more like a figure 8 type of thing. Right? And then we'll come back into our table when you're ready. We'll walk the hands a bit forward, right? And then press up for downward facing dog. So take your time here. If you want to start with a more shallow dog and then sort of work your way into more of a fuller stance, downward facing dog. Right, just take your time, check in with your body, please be gentle with yourself and breathe. Right, notice how the body feels. Is there any tightness? Is there any gripping? Right, are there any areas of the body that need special attention or care? Right, and taking any movements that feel good, right? Maybe bending the knees or sending the hips to one side and then the other. Right, and then once you've done right, some of these kind of movements, right, when you're ready, see if you can come into a little bit of stillness here in your downward facing dog. So just holding downward facing dog and some nice slow breaths, right, that Ujjayi breathing in and out through the nose. From here, let's roll forward into plank. Right, so a lot of times when we come into plank, we notice that we had to wiggle our feet back a little bit, right? It happens all the time. I see people either have to move their hands a bit more forward or they have to wiggle their feet back. So according to my tradition and my teacher, Dharma Mitra, this is exactly where we want our hands and feet to be for downward facing dog. So it may feel a little bit further away than you're used to. So let's take our plank, go ahead and lift the hips up and back. Right, and then just check out this downward facing dog and see how it feels. Right, so if it's not for you and you want to bring your feet in a little bit more, that's totally fine. It's just, for me, it's a nice smooth transition. So we take our down dog, we roll forward, plank. Right, plank pose, pressing the floor away. Right, feel that engagement of the core, the front of your legs. Right, hips up and back, downward facing dog. And from here, let's start to tiptoe the feet up toward the hands. Try to keep the heels of the hands down. Try to bring your feet right up behind the hands. All right, go ahead and bend the knees if you need to. We're gonna take ragdoll, so grab opposite elbows or interlace the arms. Let your legs be super strong here, right? And let your upper body just hinge over the lower body, right? Almost like it's just, spilling out over the lower body. Let the head drop, let the neck be relaxed, right? If you want to look from side to side, maybe sway a little side to side, maybe shake the elbows around, whatever feels good here. Just try to find that release in the back, the low back, even the neck here. Right, and then let's release the arms and we'll bring our hands to the tops of the knees, right? And just go ahead and do like sort of like a cobra back. So pull the shoulders back, lift the chest, right? And then we'll come up all the way to stand. Roll the shoulders back and down, right? And then just go ahead and shake it out, right? So that helps to kind of open up the chest and warm things up a bit. So we're gonna come into a few rounds of Surya Namaskara. right? So we're gonna start at the top of the mat, and we'll start with our hands in prayer. So we'll go kind of slow first round, and then we'll pick up the pace. It's very muggy in the studio right now, but we'll just, you know, burn up those tapas, right? We'll burn up our sins doing our practice tonight. So, all right, so on the inhale, nice big inhale, reach the arms up overhead, right? Try to keep your head in line with the arms, don't let it drop back. And then exhale, fold over the legs. Feel free to bend the knees. Right, from here, let's inhale, lift halfway. So maybe bring the hands to the shins or to the floor, nice flat back. And then exhale, fold. Right, inhale, we're gonna step the right foot all the way back. Nice big step back, and then just go ahead and drop the knee. Right, stay on your fingertips and try to lift the chest. Right, so feel that nice stretch in the front of that right hip. Right. From here, we're going to keep everything as it is, and we're going to send the hips back and fold over the front leg. Right? If you want more intensity, pull the toes back towards you. Right? And then come forward again. We'll plant the hands, hold the breath, step back, plank pose. Right? And then from plank, the exhale takes us down, dropping knees, chest, and chin. Keep the elbows in nice and close to the body, seat stays lifted. And then inhale, cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Right, really press into the tops of the feet, right, hips stay on the mat, shoulders away from the ears, right, from here, pressing back, downward facing dog, right, inhale, right foot steps forward between the hands, and go ahead and drop the back knee, so we're in that same pose, just staying on our fingerprints here, try to lift the chest, sink the left hip down. Right, and then we'll take that hamstring stretch. So try to keep the hip over the knee instead of letting the seat go all the way back toward the heel. Right, folding over the leg. Right, let's come forward, plant the hands, hold the breath, step back, plank pose. Right, exhale, lower, knees, chest, chin. Really hug the elbows in toward the body. Right, inhale, Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. All right, a few breaths here. All right, let's bend the knees, look to the hands. Right, we can either walk, step, or hop to the front, however you want to get there. Right, and then inhale, come all the way up. And then exhale, hands to prayer. Right, so again, nice big inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Right foot back, drop the knee. Right, this time if you want to come up Anjaneyasana, we can reach the arms up overhead. Right, sink the hips, tuck the tailbone under. Nice big inhale, hold the breath, step back plank. Right, exhale, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Inhaling, cobra, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Right, inhale, right foot forward. Back knee drops. Inhale, the arms up, Anjaneyasana. Hands come to the mat. Left foot steps forward. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to prayer. We'll do that same sequence leading on the left. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left foot back, drop the knee. Right, any variation you want here. You can interlace the fingers, right? Taking Kali Mudra, all the fingers except the pointer fingers. Try to lift the heart, right? Drop the tailbone down. Nice big inhale, hold the breath, step back plank. Right, exhale, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. And then inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Right, exhale back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, back knee drops, right? So we have a good distance between our knees. We're not on the kneecap, we're more on the front of the leg, right? right? So we need that nice wide stance. And then reach the arms up. Hands come to the mat. Tuck the toes, step that right foot forward. And then inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, hands to prayer. And let's just pause here for a moment. So just kind of tuning in with your breath, reestablishing that ujjayi if you've lost it. Right, slowing down the heart. Right, and then slowly floating the eyes open. Right, from here, again, nice big inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Right, exhale, fold over the legs. Right, this time we're going to stay a breath or two in Uttanasana, so if you can, try to get the big toes and heels to touch. Right, maybe reach around, grab the heels, and bring your forearms behind your calves. Right, if you need to bend the knees, go ahead and bend the knees. And go ahead and let your torso rest on your thighs. Right, this is encouraging a nice flat back here, as opposed to a rounded back. And then we kind of play around with straightening and bending the knees. As long as the torso is connected to the thighs, right, we're going to keep that back nice and protected, nice and flat. And then go ahead, release your ankles. We'll step the right foot all the way back. Right, place your right hand on the inside of the left foot and then go ahead and circle that left arm open up toward the ceiling. Right, so really pressing out through that right heel, maybe gazing up at your left hand. Right, and then left hand comes to the mat. And then from here, we're just going to square ourselves forward a little bit, and then we'll lift up off the leg. We're going to send the arms back. Right, so really firing up the legs here, nice and strong. Find that length in the back of the neck. So look down at your foot, right? See if you can find that nice stretch in the back of the neck. Reach the arms back. And then from here, we're just going to stretch the arms forward. So see if you can get the arms right alongside the ears. Again, gaze is down, so we don't want to stress the neck here. And then we're going to come up to high lunge. So the legs are feeling a little fatigued by now. We're just going to lift the arms up and then sink in or settle into our high lunge here. Right, so try to keep that back knee lifted, really press out through the right heel. Ideally, that left knee is right over the ankle. Right, shoulders are relaxed out away from the ears. Right, let's bring our hands back to the mat, and then we're going to hop our right foot in a little bit. So we're just going to hop it in so that when we drop it down into a nice square lunge, right? So this time we want a square lunge. We want both legs at 90 degrees. We're going to inhale the right arm up, and then exhale, come into a twist. Try to get the outside of the upper arm across the knee. Take a prayer shape with the hands, and try to get that prayer shape right in the center of your chest. Right, really wring things out here, just wringing out the spine. Sometimes it helps if you tuck the back toes under for stability, right? Sometimes not. Really feel, get nice and empty on your exhales. Right, and then release. We'll bring our hands to the floor and then step that right foot up to meet the left. Let's inhale, come all the way up. So really tuck the tailbone under, lift the heart. Take a little back bend here. Right, exhale, hands to prayer. And then again, inhaling, lifting up. Really engage the belly and the seat muscles. Right, exhale, fold. Right, we'll revisit our forward fold here. We'll do something a little different this time. Let's take Padangusthasana. So if you want to set the feet a little bit apart, we'll take our peace fingers, wrap them around our big toes. Right, inhale, lift halfway, and then exhale, fold. So the elbows move away from one another. Let the head drop down. Right, take your forward fold. Feel free to bend the knees if you need to. Right, notice your shoulders if they're really crunching down on the neck. See if you can lift the shoulders up. Give your neck some room here. And just breathing that Ujjayi breath. Right, so the Ujjayi helps keep us very present in our practice. Right, that audible sound just keeps bringing us back to the present moment. So it's very, very helpful breath. Right, and then we're going to switch sides. So from here, we'll release the toes. We're going to step the left foot back. Right, left hand is going to come on the inside of the right foot. And again, we're just going to circle that right arm out and up toward the ceiling, coming into our twist. Right, maybe gazing up at the hand. So if this bothers your neck, you can keep the head neutral, right? Or you can just gaze down at your left hand. So it's whatever feels comfortable for you. Right, let's release that arm down. Keep the legs nice and strong here, and then the arms are going to go back. So somehow this reminds me of like going down a mountain in skis or something. I don't know if that's, I've never experienced that, but right, again, you want to move the shoulders away from the ears, reach the arms back, feel that length at the back of the neck, looking down at the floor. Right, so the torso is parallel with the floor, but we're not just hanging out there. We're not just collapsing onto the leg. And then arms reach forward, try and get the biceps right alongside the ears. Right, this does take a lot of strength here in our legs and in our core. And then from here, let's come up. Keep that nice deep bend in the front knee. Just reach the arms up, high lunge. Right, relax the shoulders. One of my teachers used to say, don't wear your shoulders as earrings. Right, we tend to hike the shoulders up by the ears, so really let them relax down. Keep that back knee lifted. Right, and then we'll release our hands to the mat, hopping the back foot in, drop it down, find that square lunge, and we'll go the other way. So inhaling left arm high, exhale, twist to the right, taking that prayer shape. Again, try to get it right in the center of the chest. Sometimes what happens, I'm not sure if everyone can see or not, is that we dip this right shoulder in. So just keep peeling that right shoulder back. Right, think about broadening the chest and the collarbone area. Right, get nice and empty with your exhales. Right, and then let's go ahead and release. Right, from here, and then we'll step the left foot up to meet the right, and then inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Right, so when we do those twists, we're kind of twisting all the muscles, and then when we release, all of this blood just kind of rushes through everything, and that's what our muscles need. That's a lot of that tightness is like the muscles starving for that blood, right? So, all right, let's take it a little step further here. So we're gonna, again, start at the front of the mat. Let's take an inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. We'll step back, plank pose. Right, from plank, if you want to take your vinyasa, chaturanga, knees, chest, chin. Right, cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. All right, we'll just take a few breaths here. So let's take 3. Just nice inhale through the nose. Exhale. Inhaling. Exhaling. All right, last one. All right, on the inhale, let's bring our left leg up, right, point it toward the ceiling. Try to keep the hips square if you can. Right, so I teach Dharma yoga, so we always lead on the left. That kind of throws people off, right? So inhale the leg up, exhale, we're gonna step it up between the hands and come right up into high lunge. All right, and we're gonna go a little further with the twist. So Pararita Parsvottanasana. Let's drop the left arm down, inhale the right arm up. Right, if you need to drop the back knee, drop the back knee. Let's hook that right elbow over. Again, prayer shape with the hands. And the trick to this pose is keeping that back leg super straight and super strong. Right, if you want to take another variation, opening the arms, or if you have a bind. Right, Right, release the hands. Again, vinyasa if you want, or just go right into downward facing dog. So for plank, right, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, back downward facing dog. All right, 3 breaths here. Nice deep inhales. Nice complete exhales. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. On the inhale, right leg comes up. Right, nice and high. So try to keep the hips square. Just reach that right foot up toward the ceiling. On the exhale, let's step it up between the hands. Right, coming up, high lunge. Right, and again, Parivrtta Parsvakonasana, dropping that right arm. Inhale, left arm high, exhale, twist. Right, go ahead and drop the back knee if you need it. Sometimes we drop the back knee just to get our bearings. And then once you're situated in the twist, you can lift the knee. So that's another option. Right, same thing with the twist that we were doing before. Try to peel that right shoulder back. Try to keep that nice space in the chest. Keep the left knee lifted. Right, and the head is neutral here. So think about the neck as an extension of the spine. Right, some people gaze up at the ceiling. Again, it's all whatever feels comfortable for you. Right, let's release, hands to the mat. Step it back, plank. Go right into downward facing dog, or take your vinyasa. Right, we'll all kind of meet in downward facing dog. And this time, let's take our knees nice and wide. Big toes touch. Go ahead and press your seat back towards your heels. Right, if you need to rock from side to side, get nice and low and then reach the arms forward. Relax the head. We'll take a couple breaths here. Right, and then from here, let's walk the hands back a bit. Right, and then let's tuck the toes under, and let's try to lift the knees and come into tiptoe pose. So tiptoe pose is a balance pose. Right, so the balls of my feet and my heels are touching, and I'm going to try to bring my hands to the top of the knees, right, and try to see if I can find balance here. Right, if this feels comfortable, I can bring my hands to prayer in front of the heart. Right, or maybe bring the arms up overhead. Right, and then from here, we're going to use the power and strength of our legs to just go ahead and stand up. Right, so, and then maybe take a little back bend, and then we're going to come right back down into our tiptoe pose. So nice and carefully with control, right, lower yourself back down. Right, and then hands come to the floor. So it's fun to work on testing our balance and stuff, right? So we're going to come into an arm balance. We're going to work on crow pose, right? So if you have a crow, you can just go right into it. If you need a little guidance here, I'm just going to bring my feet as wide as the mat with my feet out, my heels in, and I'm going to drop my seat nice and low, right? I want to try to get my elbows on the insides of my knees, my hands at prayer. So I'm in Malasana here. This is our squat. So basically for crow, how Dharma teaches it, we bring our hands a little bit wider than we would for plank, and then turn the hands in toward one another a little bit. Everything stays right where it is, right? The shape doesn't change. The knees are connected to the arms are connected to the knees. We just come forward, right, and lift the feet up. Right, and we can practice a little bit. So it may take a few times. I don't know if you guys have a crow practice. Nice, yes. You know, it takes a little bit of time. There's always that fear of face planting, which is totally legitimate. It's totally legitimate. I've done it many times. And And so Dharma would say, you know, if you accidentally fall, right, then you have to accidentally come up into headstand, right? So if you have a headstand practice, you can come from crow into your headstand practice. So I've never practiced with, I have 3 students and I've never practiced with any of you, so I don't know your practice at all, so if this feels too much, don't worry about it. If you can come down, try to bring the knees to the arms, try to press back up into crow, which is really tricky, right? And then come out, right? Okay. All right, so from here, let's come up to stand, right? Unless you're still working. One person is, I don't have video on, right? So I can't see, right? So just catching up when you're ready. Let us work on, let's take the legs out wide, right? So we're just gonna come onto our mats nice and wide here. Right, so the toes are pointing forward, nice and straight. We're not turning the heels in and the toes out. Just keep everything nice and straight. And then hands are gonna come wherever they feel comfortable on the hips. And we're just gonna fold forward until the torso is parallel with the floor. Right, and then holding here, right? So you can already feel the weight shifting back into the heels, right? And just looking down at the floor. And very similar to what we were doing in our high lunge, we're gonna see if we can reach the arms forward, right? Again, try to bring your biceps up by the ears. I realize this is, you know, it's difficult. Nothing lasts forever. We're not gonna stay here too long. All right, and then just go ahead and bring the hands to the floor. Once your hands are on the floor, let's go ahead and walk them out a bit in front of us, and we'll take a wide leg downward facing dog. And this should feel completely amazing. So we're getting this beautiful downward facing dog stretch with absolutely no weight in the wrists. So you can feel the lightness, right? Let the chest melt back, right? Let the space between the shoulder blades just sort of melt. Right, and you can feel the weightlessness in the wrists, right? We don't have any of that pressure in the wrist that we do with in our traditional downward facing dog. It's just nice to take a little breather from that, right? And just feel the weight move into the heels. Right, and then we're just gonna walk the hands back toward us a little bit, right? Left hand is gonna come right below the face. Try to keep the hip points pointing toward the floor. We're gonna open the right arm up toward the ceiling. Right, so it's really hard not to take the hips with us, but try to keep the hips in line, right? And you're not going to be able to move as far, but we're getting a nice stretch right in the back, the thoracic back, right, instead of the low back. You can look right down at the hand, and then we'll switch sides. So right hand under the face, left arm reaches up, right? Try to keep the hip points pointing toward. It's even difficult for me because I want to take my hips with me, right? Because it feels good. It's much harder to keep the hips squared here. Right, and then go ahead and release. From here, let's walk the hands over to the left side of the mat, right? Either to the floor, maybe you can grab onto your ankle and take a little stretch over to the left. Or if you have a block, or if you want to grab anywhere else on the leg that's accessible to you. Right, taking that stretch. Right, feeling it in places where right, we can't stretch when we're just in our regular forward fold. And then come to the other side, right? We'll activate the stretch in those muscles that we get when we come over to the right. So just breathing here, breathing into the sensation wherever you feel it. Right, and then coming back to center. Last one here. We're going to walk the hands through the arms. So instead of walking forward, we're going to walk them behind us, right? So coming through the legs. Right? Some of you your heads may touch the floor. Some of you, right, may not touch the floor. It's all good. We're just stretching the arms through the legs. Just a few breaths here. And then we'll walk the hands back, Right? So if your legs are pretty wide, let's bring them in a bit so that they're maybe about 3.5 feet apart. Toes pointing out, heels pointing in. We're going to come up into goddess pose. So we're going to go ahead and drop the seat down, just like someone is coming up from behind and putting a chair under our seat, right? And then reach the arms back. Keep the elbows lifted. Tuck the tailbone under, right? This is our goddess pose. This one is tricky. It's going to really, you're going to feel it, right? See if you can sit a little deeper, pull the chest back more, keep the elbows lifted. Right, lastly, if you want to go a little more challenge, right, come to the toes here. Keep breathing. Remember, nothing lasts forever. Right, hugging everything in. Muscle to bone. Right, and then slowly lower the heels. Inhale up, take a nice stretch here. And then go ahead and release. Right, shake it out. Is this class an hour? I think so. I could go on for a long time. I think this is an hour class, but we're going to go a little over just because we started a little late. So, right, so I want to show you guys one of my favorite ways to get into shoulder stand. It may not be your favorite way, but it's kind of an interesting way to do it. And you just want to be careful. So I'm going to come into a squat at the top of the mat. Right, and my seat is already pretty close to the floor. If your squat is up here, I wouldn't recommend doing it, but you're nice and low. If you're nice and low, you can just, right, slowly sit back, come up. Right, may take a couple times, couple tries. Right, however you want to do it. Yeah, if you have to fix your ponytail, sometimes ponytails don't work well with shoulder stand. Right, take your time, try not to move the head or neck from side to side. Try to just keep it nice and straight and focused. The more you can squeeze the elbows together, the higher you can kind of climb up into your shoulder stand. Right, ways that we start to work on deepening our practice. Sometimes we start on this sort of diagonal, right, or knees bent. We start to bring the legs away from the body, right, so they're nice and straight. It puts a lot of the weight onto the elbows and the triceps. Takes the weight out of the neck, because it's not neck stand, right, it's shoulder stand. And we want to just breathe here. And this is a really hard pose. Start to move into Halasana, plow pose. So we'll start to bring the legs overhead. Right, maybe the toes touch down, maybe they don't. Right, if they don't, it's sometimes a good idea to keep your hands supporting your back so you don't roll out and hurt your neck, right? If the toes do press down, you can bring the arms to the floor. Sometimes you can grab the outer edge, the sides of your mat with your hands. Right? Some of you, if you have really flexible shoulders, can interlace the fingers, right, and straighten the arms on the mat. Right, so one of my favorite ways to come out of plow pose is to reach back and grab my big toes with my fingers, right? So I'm grabbing each big toe with my peace fingers, and I'm gonna try to rock up and catch my balance in Navasana, right? So it may not happen the first time. You wanna rock up, right? And try to catch the balance here. Right? You can try a few times, and then right, once you have Navasana, then you can go ahead and let go of the toes, right? Lift the chest. If you need to bend the knees, right? Arms reach out in front to make it harder, arms reach up toward the ceiling. Make it harder, we do Bhastrika, in and out like a fast sniffing dog. just gonna bring the soles of the feet together, right, out in front. We're gonna come into star pose. So star pose, the feet are a good distance away from the body, not like Baddha Konasana where they're in really close, right? So we've got some distance here. We'll take Kali Mudra, interlacing all the fingers except the pointer fingers over the toes. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold. Right, the drishti, or the focal point in this pose, is the heart center. Right, so just kind of keeping your awareness there. And then slowly come up. Right, we're going to end with a really great twist. We're going to just bring the feet out in front. We're going to lean back on the hands. Right, and then from here, we're just windshield wiper the legs a little bit from side to side. Right, just back and forth. Right, and then the next time you drop the legs to the right, we're just going to turn to the right. And if it feels okay, you can keep on going and face the back of the mat. Right, you're going to feel this nice twist in the low back, maybe even into your side waist and into your lower abdomen. Right, some people like to come onto their forearms here. That's a little bit too far of a stretch for me. I like to stay up on my hands. But if it's something you want to try, you can drop one forearm and then the other. And then we'll slowly release. And we'll lift the legs up and over to the left. Right, same thing. Come over to the left and then turn to face the back of the mat. Right, and again, just feeling it in that low back. Right, that low side waist and lower abdomen. Again, if you want to drop down, if you did it on the other side, you maybe want to try it on this side. Center. Okay, and then we're just going to lower down nice and slow. So if you want to bring the arms out in front, right, we can work on that core strength and see if you can really slowly just kind of set yourself down on the mat if you want to straighten the legs. Right, once you're all the way down, reach the arms up overhead. Take a nice big stretch. Nice big inhale, and on the exhale, just draw the knees into the chest. All right, maybe curl yourself into a little ball if you want to pick the head up off the mat. All right, and then lower the head down. Maybe rock side to side or take some circles around. Whatever feels good here, right? Any kind of last pose to make your practice complete tonight before we take our final Shavasana. Right, so maybe happy baby or any of those poses that feel good to you in your practice, right? Or maybe you're ready to just settle into your Shavasana now. Right, when you do come into the relaxation, just let the legs be long, let the feet just flop out to the sides. Right, wherever you are, take up some space. Go ahead and tuck your shoulders under a little bit. Really bring the arms out away from the body. Let the palms face up. Right, and then just to lengthen the back of the neck, if you want to lift the head, tuck the chin, and then set the head back down. Right, you can also rock the head a little bit from side to side so that it lands in that perfectly comfortable spot. Right, release the low back. Try to allow the whole body to relax here, the feet, ankles, calves and shins, knees, thighs, and hamstrings. Right? Both legs very heavy, very loose. Feel the palms of your hands relax, your wrists, forearms, elbows, upper arms and shoulders, both arms very loose, very heavy. Right? Feel the weight of your entire back pressing down into the mat. Feeling the relaxation in your low back, mid back, upper back, and the back of the shoulders, back of the neck. Relax the front of the body, pelvic area, abdominal area, rib cage, chest, collarbones. Suggest to your internal organs to relax. The front of the neck, moving into the face and jaw, lips, cheeks, ears, forehead, eyes, eyebrows. Relax the temples. Relax the scalp. Relax the brain. And just allow the body to be by itself. Right? Allow the breath to just breathe by itself. back to sit. We can bring our hands to prayer in front of the heart. I like to close with 1 Om and 3 Shanti. Shanti meaning peace. So if you'd like to join me, we'll take a nice big inhale. Shanti, be receptive, namaste. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Enjoy the holiday and the weekend. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, it's good to see you. Have you been to the ashram? You look familiar. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I do remember you. I do. I remember your face. Yeah. Oh, it's so nice to see you. Yeah. Thanks for coming. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And thank you. I know your camera's not working and everything, but thanks for coming to class. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Enjoy the weekend. We miss everyone. We really miss everyone. It's not the same, but, you know, we do what we have to do. Yeah. Awesome. All right, I hope to see you again. All right, take care.